Alright, hello everybody, and welcome to this voiceover. I lost some footage, so I'm doing a voiceover over the part that I did recover. And it's going to be, I'm showing you how to color a background in summer nights, and I'm going to try to match what my hands are doing, which will be fun. But yeah, so I have this little picture of a bird there, and I wanted to use that as color inspiration. It's similar colors to the picture that I've already colored there on the right side, and there was a jump cut. So now I've chosen the colors, hooray! And I'm going to use these two oranges for the background. So I chose two orange colors that are quite similar to each other. You can choose colors that are a bit more, that have a bigger contrast, but I find it's easier to do the thing I'm doing here, at least, if it's similar, maybe not if they are like friends on neighbors on the color wheel, sort of. So like yellow and red or blue and purple, but maybe not like green and red, because that they are a bit too far from each other, sort of. And I don't usually think about the color wheel when I color stuff like that, but yeah, but it's easier to explain, I think. Yeah, so I'm just, as you see, just doing splotches, just straight coloring. And I will, this voiceover will be a bit chatty, so if you don't like that, sorry. Yeah, so yeah, I'm just going to fill in all these background with splotches. And yeah, we have a lot of snow right now, a lot of snow. Where I live in Sweden, it's usually not that much, but right now it's like a snowstorm, and all the buses are not really going as they should. And yeah, it's kind of both miserable and cozy at the same time, depending on if you're inside or outside, which is fun. I don't know if you heard, my cat Sergey is here beside me, doing small cat noises. Have I told you about Sergey? He's a black and white cat. He only has 4 teeth. They had to, we got him from like a shelter organization, sort of, and he had an autoimmune disease that made a lot of problem with his teeth, so they pulled the rest of them. All right, so now I'm switching to the other color. So this color should be a bit darker. I don't think that it's not that big of a difference, as I said, but there is some difference. You'll probably see it when everything is colored in. But yeah, so he only has 4 teeth, and it looks like a vampire. Quite often he has like this, he looks grumpy, and he's lying with the 4 teeth sticking out. Really cute. He's a real character. Goes around making small noises. Yeah. So as you can see, this is just really, right now it's really simple, and you can see the markers do leave like, you can see the strokes, I think. And yeah, it's I find it quite relaxing to, you know, kind of fill in the spaces and make it all nice and colorful. So yeah, the snow, as I said, is a bit of a I've lived in Sweden for 8 years now, and I still don't have like good winter shoes. I have ones that look like good winter shoes, but they actually leak water straight into my down to my socks, and yeah, so yeah, there we go. Sergey wants to play. But yeah, so that's miserable, and I have had it on my list to buy good winter shoes for like years. I don't know what I'm showing there. Weird. It's so odd to like see what gestures I'm doing with my hands. But yeah, so it's on my list to buy good winter shoes. Oh yeah, oh, I remember what I talked about. I talked about Sweden being... I was probably also talking about snow and um, about traveling, because I went on with my student theater group. We went to a tourney, is it called tourney? Maybe, up to Kiruna, which is the north of Sweden, the real north of Sweden. So that's like the stereotypical how you think Sweden is. Oh my god, I talk so much with my hands. But yeah, that's where that's the stereotype of Sweden is more or less like Kiruna, maybe Luleå, but especially like Kiruna is above the northern pole circle also. And I actually visited there, and I think what I showed there with my hand was like that you forget that Sweden is really a long country. Like maybe not for you guys who live in the US, your grasp of distances is a lot different than the European, or at least for like people like me who come from a small country like Slovenia. Sweden is huge compared to Slovenia. But yeah, but if you take Sweden and you turn it on its axis, so you would put the northernmost part down south, it would go all the way to Rome, which is like half of Europe. So yeah, it's quite long. It takes 24 hours by train or by car to get all the way to Kiruna, but there are planes who go there too. But yeah, so that took us 24 hours to get up there, and we went in February, so it was a lot of snow and really dark also, but also not. I mean, here in November in the city I live in, it's it gets this really, it's dark for real. Because usually there's not any snow and it's just the miserable darkness, and you don't really put out the Christmas lights until December usually. This year I put them up in November, but yeah. But yeah, so it's really dark. But up in Kiruna, it was also like the sun obviously doesn't go up in like 6 months, but it was still light because all the snow was reflecting the starlight. So it was really, really cool. And also like in during the day in quotation, the it did get a bit more like twilighty. So, but the sun didn't go up, but like it was a bit lighter, I remember. Yeah, it was really cool. I managed to go get lost in Kiruna at night in February because that's the kind of chaos person I am. No, but I had to had to. I was we were, yes, Sergey. You would think we don't take care of him. We do, I promise. He has a good cat life. Now you can see that space over there really got quite splotchy, but I'm covering that as I go. So like even when it's, you can't really go over an area too much, but you can go over it like 2 times depending on the paper. And the Hannah Carlson paper is quite good, so yeah. No idea what I'm showing now. Yeah. So, but yeah, so Kiruna was cool. I like traveling a lot. I used to travel more when I was in, I think I traveled the most when I was in primary school, possibly secondary school. But like my primary school was a part of the UNESCO project, so we had a lot of exchanges with other primary schools in like Montenegro, and then in Germany, and in where did we go? Hungary, and then yeah, quite a few places. It feels like there should be more. Uh, anyway, it was easier to travel when you were like, when I was like a child, because then my parents obviously paid But then when I became a student, suddenly you realize how expensive traveling actually is. And yeah, so I got a lot less of traveling done during university. But yeah, okay, so now we have the two colors down. So that's the first stage. You can see this is still quite scratchy. Now I'm testing with another color, realizing it's not what I want to do. And instead you're choosing the same darker color. So I'm basically, I think I'll show you later, but I'm filling in the spaces that are a bit more scratchy. But you see I'm doing it. I'm generating more texture where there's not texture. Let's put it like that. So now I'm showing you what's... first I'm generating like splotchy coloring. This is how the background kind of looks like if you look close. So you see you have these darker parts where the markers has been overlaying, and you have some lighter parts where there's only one layer. And the lighter parts actually have less texture, right? So what I'm doing is adding texture to the lighter parts. You can see they're quite scribbling a bit just to add to make it all uniform, sort of. So you get a bit darker color by doing that, but as you can see, it doesn't really bleed through even on this thinner paper. But if you make more layers, or if you really scribble hard as I'm doing right now, then of course you get bleed through, and the paper peels and stuff like that. And that happens even on the Hanna Karlsson paper if you are too enthusiastic, let's say. So you have to be a bit careful. If you're uncertain, or like, you know, or I wouldn't say it's a problem in Hanna Karlsson books, but if you feel uncertain, and so you could leave it to dry in between each layer. I don't usually have the patience for that, or like I feel like already by just the normal amount of time it takes to do one color, it has kind of dried, if you get what I mean. So like the part where you started coloring has dried by the time you're at the last part. But yeah, so I'm doing that right now, and I hope that made sense. There will be more coloring videos in this style. Maybe not voiceovers, we'll see how this goes. Yeah, he's making a lot of noise right now, demanding to play. Sergey, don't throw the whole house down. Yeah, okay, but now, okay, so now what I'm doing is, you see in the lighter areas, I want to fill those in a bit with like a pixelated effect, so make more of a gradient. And I don't really know how to explain that, except just like I'm doing what you see I'm doing. Not really just dots, more like small scribbles, sort of. I'm too impatient for dots. Dots would probably be better, or like not better, just more, you could have more control over it. And some of the areas get filled in more, some less. Some of them I will return to later. And yeah, I did finish this coloring afterwards by adding a bit of red to the outer parts of the frame, and not by markers though, but by ink pens on top of markers. I lost that footage, so yeah. I did do that to the background, and then I colored the bird and the flowers in grays, and I kind of think it would look better in something else, but I went with grays. Maybe I'll cover that with something. Could go with blue. It's fun to look at your pictures this way, sort of, because you get a bit more, or for me at least, I feel like I'm getting a bit more distance from the picture, sort of can see what it needs in a different way than I did when I was coloring it. And I don't think grays is the right decision here. I should have gone for blues. I can probably fix that. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I think we're nearing the end. Yes. Ha! short video. But yeah, so that's how. Oh my god, cat, stop it. He closed the door and now he's angry that he closed the door, so he's trying to open it. Yeah, so that's the way I do the background. And is there anything more to say? I don't think so. As I said, it's just 2 markers and it's kind of painless and nice. So highly recommend. See you in the next one.